Hello, 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 friends. Nicholas here with DIVO TED Talks, or Devoted Talks, depending on how you want to say it, where we take ancient wisdom and practices through a modern lens and experience to help you and those you love in suffering in your personal and greater worlds alike. And man, I am pumped. I am fired up. I am feeling good. My body is still reacting to pollen. We are deep in the pollen season. It's the end of March here. I know you'll get this video at the end of April. But I am feeling pumped. I had a conversation with a client last night who is in Dublin. We worked together last fall, and then there was medical stuff that prevented us from continuing to work together physically, at least in a training sense. But one of the big things was this March wedding that she was going to be going to for her daughter. Like, they went and viewed the thing, and like, I've been involved a little bit since last summer, peripherally. Anyway, so I was like, oh, I better text just to see if they had it already or see what's going on. And so we started messaging, and it's actually this coming week. So my client had just gotten to Dublin and was jet lagged and awake. And so we were chit-chatting back and forth, and, we got onto some subjects that are very tough and very prescient and important for the modern day world. The topic was around the resignation to your life based on your interpretation of it. A textbook type analysis, like an educated, high level analysis of it, and labeling of it. But, what we really started talking about was meaning. We talked about in youth where you have all this power and virility and, you're very just vital in general, and how it can easily slip away as you age and you fall into these categories. And one of the things she did say to me was women of a certain age was the direct quote. She said, women of a certain age are relegated to. And in many ways, she's right. But in her pictures, she looked so radiant, like illuminated from the inside out. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, I would love to be an all-powerful radiant witch, da, 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 da. But women of a certain age. And I was like, what are you talking about? You literally look like it. And that was what I said in the very beginning. And now you're telling me all the reasons why you're not that and can't be that and shouldn't be that. And I was just like, but I realized that I do that shit too. Pardon my French. I do that too. I'm sure we all do it in some way, shape, or form, / it's just regurgitation of what we've been told, right? There's a reason why certain classes socioeconomically and or other restrictive barriers in the world hold people there, because they resign themselves to that experience and they just stay there and they can't see or think or believe or operate outside of that. And no shame to them, no harm to them, because why wouldn't you? Like, how can you know what's possible unless you're a dreamer? But then you get yelled at for being a daydreamer in some places. Like, you can't win. So what do we do with that? Well, one, we remember from Ayurveda specifically, but also yoga, because they all interplay in the ancient Vedic wisdom, is that you are the meaning maker. You make the meaning of everything, every word, every sign or symbol, everything in your life. And maybe you were taught some of those, but you're still allowing that meaning to be held there. If a chair is in our thoughts to be sat in, why do some people look at it and say, oh, I can stand on that to change a light bulb? You made new meaning for that object. You changed it, you morphed it, you transformed it, and you utilized it for something else. Right? You are the meaning maker, right? This is how people get creative. They're able to see outside of either previous meaning or limited dimensions of perception in the beginning to see all and more of what is out there. And so what do you do with that? Well, one, you recognize over and over and over again, maybe through practice, maybe through a simple ritual, to help you recognize that you are all powerful in this regard. And so my client was having trouble because I was like, you're all powerful. What do you mean? How? I'm still this thing that I said I was. And I was like, yes, but think about how powerful you are to have decided that and to live by that right now. You, through all of your powerfulness, created that right there. Some of the things I wrote to her felt so inspired. And one time, she was even like, wow, that's poetry. And it was very E.E. Cummings looking, if you know what I'm talking about, right? Stacked words and drip, drip, drip of knowledge down. or icicles melting and then refreezing as you are able to change just a little bit of your perspectives and then come back to them again, albeit in a dagger form versus a sheet. Oh, did you catch that ice metaphor? You should go back and listen to it again. Now, another thing that we came up to when we were talking about it was the ideas that society has about women of a certain age. I'm sure her experience is exactly that. I am sure that what she has been led to believe by life has been that. Because what else would you take away from seeing misogyny in all of its forms that we frequently have in the modern day age? How would you take that, right? And if you're out there saying, oh, I don't know about misogyny, maybe because you're not a misogynist, but that doesn't make it any less relevant or present in our society. If we had our original society built around men only being able to vote, how, even when you allow women to vote, is it not still diminutive? How is there not echoes of that system in the machine? I know there is nothing to refute there because it's true, right? Just like slavery. Unless you completely overhaul your society, which we did not do, we just changed the law about what was legal and what was illegal. I'm not going to get into any more depth about that right now. I could go on for weeks, maybe a year about that. It's nuts, man. People can't see the bigger picture. And maybe that's just because that is part of who I am. I am a big picture. I'm a big person kind of guy. My beard is even big. My hair is big. I do big things. That's what I do. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. And, without revealing too much details, they are very familiar with theater. And I was like, so is there inherent meaning in theater, or is it the viewer's relationship to the theater or to the movie or to the art that gives it meaning? And all of a sudden she was like, oh, I see what you're saying. So our interpretation of what life is playing out for us is us giving it meaning, and it is directly proportional to our relationship to it. So if your relationship to it makes you feel and think this way about it and it doesn't feel good, why are you thinking about it that way? Why are you allowing it to continue relating in that way? Why wouldn't you shift or change that relationship, whether it's you or how you interact with that thing that we are talking about? If you don't, and you didn't, I don't know why. Like, why? Why wouldn't you? So as you can see, I'm very passionate about this because it was just like I dug into something that I see so much of, because it's always hard to articulate. Like I can see this general but shared suffering around the world and around our country especially. And I'm like, what is drawing it together? And it's people living in the story rather than realizing that they are creating the story. They are making the meaning of the stories that are playing out in their head that are making them feel and live certain ways. And so if you could change that, why wouldn't you? That's a dumb question, but also a very valid question. What would Yoga and Ayurveda tell us? Yoga and Ayurveda is telling us that we are the meaning maker. I make meaning for everything. Ahamkara is the I am maker. It's the ego. It's the thing that allows you to say I am or that is, right? Ahamkara is this mode of interacting in the world where I am separate, yet I am assigning I'm making of things. I am making the am. I am. It is. I mean, obviously, if you know what you are, then you know what other things are not or are based in relationship to you. So Ahamkara, the I am maker, is a very important piece of this, especially when it comes to the chitta. Chitta is the mind. And but it's more than that. It's like the coalescence of different functions of the mind and the personal and interpersonal or cosmic things that happen in and outside of us. So this is such a good episode and such a good topic. If you are the maker of meaning, and you are, and you're not recognizing your power in the making of that meaning, what are you doing? What are you doing? Potentially being complicit in your suffering, potentially being the villain in your story. It's like Scooby-Doo, and then we unmask the villain, and it's you after all. Just, you had to look in the mirror to see it. But the world is the mirror. Your life is the mirror of all of the things going on inside of you or within the vicinity of your personal perceptions and I amness, right? Your Ahamkara. And if you're the villain, couldn't you also be the hero? Well, yeah, make the meaning. And if you are the villain, what if the villain making you the hero is the medicine in the first place? And so it was never bad that you were the villain. It's just that you had to be to understand what a hero was. Another thing that the client and I were talking about was two sides of the same coin. Everything in this world, in this universe as we know it, exists in duality. And duality lets me know that if life is feeling meaningless and pointless and just, ugh, there has to be the opposite true as well to balance it, not just as a balance point, but just because you can't know something without its opposite. You can't know something without contrast. And so if life, and it does feel like this sometimes, feels meaningless, it feels so hard that you won't be able to make headway or ends meet or get past the certain things that you're doing, right? It doesn't matter how much money or wealth you have. It's all relative. The point of life is made by us. And because we're human, we're all going to, in some way, shape, or form, go through the same challenges because they're all going to feel the same. They just may not look the same. The details may be different, but the energetics and the emotional state of it are the same, right? We're like, oh, addiction doesn't favor one group or another. And it's like, well, no, because it's a human condition related to emotional and, states, physical states that we all may have been programmed with, but just born in different, you know, socioeconomics or whatever, like we were talking about, right? Having no love is just as much of a lack of resources as having no money. And so you could have all the love in the world, but no money and no struggle. And you could have all the money in the world and no love and struggle, right? The feeling is going to be the same when a resource like that is lacking. And so the meaning maker is you. And in that making of meaning, you are all powerful, which is what we talked about here. So one of the rabbit holes of rumination and challenge that I've been going through lately was that sometimes life feels meaningless. And I was talking to my client about how I was able to go, well, if I'm in a world of duality and things operate in polar sides or cap things, our planets have polar points on the top and bottom. There's different nodes as it's related to energy flow. So the same has to be true for me. The same has to be true for this experience of seeming meaninglessness. And it became, oh yeah, if that's true, then all things have meaning. So they either don't have meaning at all the meaning in the world, but we exist in the spectrum of that. And so I can now hold both very easily. And she was like, good heavens, that's, philosophical or mind shattering, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, this is going on really long and I don't normally take these long ones, but this is one you're going to want to share with your friends. This is one you're going to want to listen to again because there's a lot of nuggets in there. Because guess what? You have to go back and make the meaning. I'm delivering my interpretation of the meaning, but it's a feeling and it's an understanding and it's within me and my heart. But because it's in me, I know it can be in you because I can't be the only one that holds this. And it's not just because I give it to you that you have it. It's because you're able to remember it and realize it for what it is within you because it's always been there. It just might have been under a bushel. Godspell, anybody? All right, my loves, be well and be free.